Where do people start if they've never done this before? Looking to start.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what you've got to do is have a think about what is it that you want to get out of Reiki first of all, and what you want to get out of Reiki is an experience. Okay, it's not just the intellectual knowledge of it, because you can read a book on that. So originally, when people learnt Reiki, they go and live with Buddhist background, Mikao Usui, to get the experience of it and to explore it and understand it. So there's a few things. So if we take that in mind, there's a few things that I would recommend, having taught several thousand people Reiki. The first one is don't do it online. Okay, Reiki can never be taught or learnt, I would say, online. You're not going to get the experience out of it. You may as well just read a book, because actually the real key is what happens on the course and when you're learning healing and the experience of those kind of inner psychic senses opening up. So that's the first thing. Second one is that you need to build confidence in it. So don't do a one-day course. A one-day course, what generally happens is people go and learn Reiki. They'll learn the Reiki ideals, they'll have a bit of healing, then they'll have some lunch, and they'll turn the other stuff, and they simply won't get enough practice. They won't be able to go home, digest it, and then come back with different questions. So that's the second thing. And
I think that's, sorry, I was just going to interrupt you and just say I think that's a really important point, because I meet a lot of people that have done Reiki, and actually the most common thing I hear is, I've done my Reiki One or I've done my Reiki Two, but I don't feel confident. I've actually not done it since I did the course.
Yeah, sure.
And I think a lot of the time the reason for that is because they actually haven't had as much practice as they could have done, and so when they are left then to their own devices, they don't actually have that confidence and they're not feeling really sure about it, are they?
Exactly, because you go. So a lot of people will take a kind of spiritual self-awareness course. Maybe their partner doesn't really align with that. Okay, that's really common. So they go home, they try and do a bit of healing, a bit of zapping, a bit of Reiki on their partner or their kid or their dog or whatever it is, and sometimes it's great and that's really good and it works really well, and other times it doesn't. So you've got, because it's day one, so you've got to be able to come back and spend another day. You need to really settle with the ideas of it intellectually by talking and conversation, and then have as much practice as you possibly can on the course, because we're all busy, so actually going away doing it on Reiki on other people is tricky. People feel awkward, slightly difficult doing it. So 2 days, not 1 day. 1 day, I can guarantee, you can absolutely trust me on this, 1 day, having been doing it for 20 years, is simply not enough to build your confidence. It's not about the teacher, the course is about you. And you need 2 days in order to build that rapport with yourself and to be able to experience enough of it.
I would definitely agree. I mean, I know when I did it, it was just so helpful, just spending as much time as possible and really getting a sense of that and a feeling. I think as well, a lot of the time, because we can be quite cynical creatures, so it can take a little while to be, am I feeling it? I'm not quite sure. So I think it really takes a while just to be able to actually really relax and really allow ourselves to actually experience it and trust in it. So I think the more time you can spend in that room, in that kind of container, with the teacher and with other people as well, because being able to ask the questions and kind of bounce off people as well, is really important.
Often people ask the best questions on day 2. Right, day 1 they don't know what's going to happen. It's all new. They're slightly nervous. We're all building rapport with each other, But actually, the best questions on Reiki courses come on the second day, once somebody's really tried to think about, how does this work? What does this mean for me? Can I use it in this way? Can I use it in that way? Or they go home on day 1 and somebody else asks a question that they don't know the answer to. Now, people can always phone me after Reiki courses, and they do a lot. But going back for day 2 on a course almost amplifies it by 10 or 20%, which is why I'm saying never do a Reiki course in 1 day. It simply won't stand you in good stead of then going on to Reiki 2, because you won't have the experiences that are available on the second day to you. So that's why I've never ever done a Reiki course in 1 day. There's just not enough time for the student to get hold of it. So
that's a good point as well, like you were saying about, because usually it's on 2 consecutive days. We run ours on 2 consecutive days, and so that first time, that first day, like you say, when you're learning and taking everything on board, and then there's lots of stuff that's kind of, you know, going around in your head and all your questions and stuff like that, and then actually you go home and you lie in bed and you're lying there and, you know, things are working, you know, you've got new things going on, haven't you? And I think it's quite natural actually that you might wake up the next day and have questions in your mind, and like you say, other people will ask you questions as well. So having that opportunity to go back the next day and then ask those questions and kind of consolidate that, and then have more opportunity to practice, because as you take in that new knowledge, then everything shifts again, so it's like a constant shifting.
Well, it's like kind of cogs work, and you know, so a lot of times people have an experience on the first day and they go, oh, this is amazing, I absolutely love this, I'm so glad I came. Then they'll go home and go, am I going crazy, you know, is this real, did that really happen, oh, I must be making it up, all that kind of stuff. And then, which is why you must readdress that on day 2. You must readdress that.
And also, as you said as well, that's quite an important point. You know, you might live alone, so you might not have somebody to come home and talk to or bounce off or say, oh, hey, I learnt this thing today, can I practice it on you? Or you might get a negative reaction because, as you said, you know, often people's partners or children or whatever, you know, they might be more cynical, they might be like, oh, I don't feel anything, or that was rubbish, or you know, and then, of course, then you're suddenly deflated, aren't you? And so if that happens on your first day, and then you've got no opportunity to kind of come back, then I think I can understand how people could lose that confidence. And so, you know, that is something that's really important for us, because we want you to get the most out of your experience so that you have that confidence going forward. Because at the end of the day, this is all about you. It's all about you changing, and just to go pretty deep here, but it's about changing your relationship with your world, with reality, right? With energy, with whatever you, but it fundamentally changes how you approach the world once you begin to explore this, and that's a massive thing to happen. So actually, is that not worth investing 2 days in? On a course? Of course it is. You know, and the worst thing that can happen is you have that experience on day 1 and it's all great, then you go home, you know, and it doesn't work because your confidence has gone down. You know, you get deflated by something, and all of a sudden you're almost behind where you started in the first place, because you go, I've done Reiki, but it doesn't really work. But actually, the fact is, anyone can do it. It's all about understanding your relationship to energy and yourself and that type of thing, and that requires a couple of days investment. So always do 2 days. So so the 3 things to think about on courses based on my experience, however long is one, do not do it online. Simply will not get the benefit of doing it online. That doesn't mean absent healing can't work and all that. It does, but we're talking about learning something, interacting with other people, sensing other people's energy and how that works and all that kind of stuff. The second one is do it over 2 days. And the third one, something that I'm very keen on in courses, and I know Claire is as well, which is practice. You must get as much practice in your Reiki course as possible. So if you're thinking of taking a Reiki course, ask the person, you must always talk to the person who's teaching how much practice you're going to get. Because if you're not going to get a lot of practice, the teacher's just going to talk at you all day about Reiki, because Reiki's really not the most important subject in the room. It's you're the most important subject in the room. So if you're not going to get enough practice on a Reiki course, Reiki 1, 2 practitioner, or whatever it is, then you should avoid that course, because the bottom line is practice builds confidence. It brings up questions that you need to explore. So you must get, certainly in courses I've been doing and we're going to be doing, 3-4 hours of practice on Reiki 1 to really help you build that confidence. And of course, that brings you lots of weird and wonderful experiences as well, which we can then talk about. And I would say, the other thing as well is about ongoing support and opportunities to practice. And again, that's where a lot of people, I think, lose out, because they do the course and then it's kind of, they've done the course, but then they haven't done anything with it. And then after a while, they're like, I've kind of lost my confidence. I don't know how to do it. Or they remember 2 years later, I did a Reiki course once, And of course, we want it to be something that's really empowering and, really just something that really gives you something, and it really can help you on your spiritual journey. And so you will have questions, not just in those first days, but as you progress in time, you'll have questions coming up. Like I know on my journey at first, for example, I couldn't feel anything, so I was a bit cynical and like, other people could feel it when I did it, but I couldn't feel it.
Yeah.
And so then when I suddenly could feel it, it was kind of like, oh, you know, this was something new again, you know, that I wanted to sort of talk about and explore and ask questions about. And so, you know, it is an ongoing journey. And I do think it's really important that you have that ongoing relationship with whoever it is you learn with. And that's why we do a monthly opportunity for support and share, where you can come and practice and ask your questions. And I think that's a really valuable thing. And actually in all of our courses we actually give you a gift of 2 passes to come along afterwards, so that you can come along to one of our Reiki support and share evenings. So we have those once a month, so that you know that there's always support there. And even if you haven't done it for 2 years, you know, you can just get in touch and say, you know, have you got a share going on? And you know, you'll always be welcome. And actually, even if you haven't learnt with us, you know, it really doesn't matter, because you know, we just want to support you on your journey. So you know, you'll always be welcome here. So
okay, I think that's probably enough for today. So again, just to round off, really make sure that you do talk to the Reiki teacher. A couple of things I would say about the Reiki teacher as well. One is make sure they're a professional healer. Okay, make sure that they have actually done that, that they have got quite a lot of experience as a healer. That will transform how they view Reiki and how they can help you. So many times I've had people come along to my courses having taken it with somebody else, and the other person couldn't answer any of their questions because they hadn't actually done healing. You know, they hadn't done that process, or they hadn't taught many people. So the first one is make sure that the person's experienced, and the second one is make sure they can answer the questions, and that only comes with experience as well. So one of the positive things about Reiki in itself, and remember, Reiki is just a system of self-awareness, and then you go beyond Reiki into other things, is that you're able to answer the questions and get the things that you need, you know. So there we go. That's what I'd say. So we've got a couple of things coming up that Claire will...
Yeah, so we've got our Reiki support and share evening on Monday, the 10th of February. It's 7:30 till 9:30 in Hitchin. And so you are most welcome, whether you are completely, you know, inexperienced and know absolutely nothing about Reiki, but want to come along, experience it, try it, watch, ask questions, meet us. You can come along. If you're a teacher or you've done some Reiki levels, it doesn't matter how rusty you are, it doesn't matter. It's just a really lovely opportunity for you to come back in and just be in a room with like-minded souls. So I think that can be a really positive, enriching experience. Or maybe you've done your Reiki and somebody you know is curious about it. You know, that could be a good opportunity, you know, a good way to perhaps bring somebody along, so that, you know, we can
so they see that we're normal.
Yeah,
we
are normal.
Kind of normal. In like kind of. So that's, and the second one is with the course on the January.
Yeah, so that's on the 10th, and as I say, we do that every month anyway. And our next Reiki One is on the 22nd and 23rd of February. So if you want to come along to that, we would absolutely love to see you. You'd be most welcome. And we have got more dates as well. So you can see them actually. If you're in the page, you'll see that there's a pinned post at the top, which has got all of our dates for Reiki Shares, Reiki One and Reiki Two and Reiki Three on there over for the next few months. And I shall be putting the summer dates on there soon. People are already asking about doing courses in the summer holidays. Yeah. So loads of opportunities for you to come and learn. So yeah, we'd love to support you on your Reiki journey. Wherever you are in it, you'll be most welcome. We'd love to see you. And if you want to have it, so I'm going to do the teaching at the start of the year. So if you want to have a chat, then you can message below and we can jump on the phone and have a chat. Absolutely open to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Send
us a message, no bother, or stick some comments or questions below, and just book on. We'll put the links in above this once it's on Facebook.
That's it.
So,
Take care.
Have a great day. Take care. Bye.
Bye.